What's up, YouTube? It's Infomercial here. It's the guy who does Elden Ring Invasions. We're back at it again with a new build, and I want to talk a little bit about like builds in general in Elden Ring, and why there's no real such thing as like a meta build. So this build is basically I'm just trying to get true combos with the Bloodflame Talons. And that was the whole idea for the build. It was like, alright, at level 80, which is basically where I'm at right now, what sort of build can I make that will let me get true combos with this spell? Because it true combos with a lot of interesting stuff. And if you don't know what that is, a true combo, it basically comes from like fighting games. It means like a series of inputs that locks your enemy into damage. So like what I just did there with Bloodflame Talon into Carrion Piercer. That, if you have max cast speed, so if you have 40 dexterity and you're wearing the Radigan's icon, or if you just have 70 dexterity on your character, you have the maximum cast speed for your spells and for your incantations. So if you have max cast speed and you hit somebody with Bloodflame Talon, and if your connection is good, then they are locked into getting hit by Carrion Piercer as well. There's no way for them to dodge it. So it's just a nice little combo that you can do. Something that I've seen other people do, and I thought it looked cool. And so I wanted to check it out myself. Also, look at this Invader tax here. The classic, I get to take one of your co-opers before you cross into the boss arena, because you got to pay the troll toll if you want to get into the boss hole. Turned into me just taking this is taxation without representation. This is oppression, financial oppression of the lands between, with my little frosty Estoc. Anyways, so that was the whole idea for the build, and from that idea, I sort of followed that idea until I got a whole build together. So like, what kind of levels would I need for this? And I wanted to lock myself into level 80 because I wanted to do some kind of like mid-game invasions. And it's probably not going to stay at 80. But it was a fun little challenge to see like, well, how can I fit everything that I need onto this build? Because we need 27 intelligence for Carrion Piercer. We need like 17 arcane and 14 faith for Bloodflame Talons and for some other stuff I'm going to put on there. And we also need to have enough health to invade, so we got to have 40 vigor on the build. And that doesn't really leave a whole lot of room for anything else. And we got to use the Radigan icon with 35 vigor and like a talisman that raises dexterity. So basically I'm running 3 talismans that raise my stats and 1 talisman that increases my cast speed. And eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that I am also wearing a kind of a cool headpiece here. It's called the Mask of Confidence. You get it from the inverted Carrion Tower, just kind of like on a corpse in there. And this thing raises your arcane by 3, and it doesn't give you any detrimental status effects. Like, there's other stuff that will raise your arcane more, but it increases damage that you take, or it lowers other stats that you have, like endurance or mind or something like that. But this bad boy, you just get +3 arcane, which is really nice because most arcane stuff does not actually require a super high arcane stat. Like, the highest stat that I need in arcane for this build is for Blood Boon, which I don't have any clips of in here because I'm still kind of working on this build. But that only needs like 17 arcane, I think. And so you can get away with pretty low arcane and still have a lot of cool, a lot of cool arcane spells on your build. But this is it's a little bit of a lore build too, because it's not a super, tuned up invader. Like, it's a competitive build, and it can do some fun stuff, but it has some significant weaknesses, like the fact that I need to spend 3 talisman slots just to get the stats that I need for the stuff that I want is a big disadvantage. Like, that's 3 talisman slots that could be filled with other things, you know, but I'm dedicating them to like just talismans that raise my stats so I can just cast the spells and the incantations that I have. I'm also kind of locked into light armor because I only have 11 endurance and I'm not spending any more points on endurance. What was I saying? It's a little bit of a lore build though. So the Mask of Confidence is the Perceptor mask. It's the same one that Celavis wears. And the Perceptors were kind of like the, I don't know, they're like the SEAL Team 6 of the Carrion royal family. They were, you know, they're kind of in on the ground floor with like all the secrets of the family. Maybe less SEAL Team 6. Maybe they're more like the CIA of the Carrion royal family. They know all the secrets. And when Radagon married Renala, he made them like swear to secrecy. And this mask just says that like they were sworn to confidence and secrecy to Radagon, but it doesn't really say what they were being so secretive about. But the fact that it raises arcane is interesting because Caria, you know, it's known for sorceries and intelligence and magic, but arcane is like, you know, that's for status buildup and blood spells and things like that. So I think that Radagon was kind of having them do some shady stuff for him. They were kind of taking out his dirty laundry. And they're just interesting characters. We only see 2 of them in the game. There's Miriam and Celavis, and we only really know that, yeah, they worked for the Carrion royal family. And so this character, it's named Sanguine Magus, the Sanguine Magus, and this is kind of like a rogue perceptor who kind of, you know, went AWOL, and he's working with Moog, and he's using blood incantations, but he also still has those Carrion spells. You know, he's got Carrion Piercer, Carrion Greatsword. I'm using the Estoc here just because it's kind of the base weapon that you get with the prisoner. And the prisoner had the best stats for what I was looking for. But it's fun. You know, I have blood tax on it, which I don't know if Blood Flame Talons can true combo into blood tax. It seems like it hits more often than it doesn't, which is really helpful, because blood tax can help you get your HP back. It can proc multi-hit talismans, so like if I ever put like Millicent's prosthesis or something on here. I left Millicent alive for now, but we'll see. You know, that could be pretty useful on this build too. But the point being, like, this is a fun build that I made for myself that is not like, it's not like a sweaty, like meta build, you know? And I knew that coming into making the build. But at the same time, like, I'm winning invasions, you know? There's, and I would recommend that people make invasion builds like this before they actually try to just go out there with, like, you know, the bull goat set and the fingerprint shield and dual spears, or just like all the spells that you can fit on your character and just kind of spam spells at people. Like the stuff that you see people with the montages on YouTube, which I know that's exactly what this is, but you know the ones that I'm talking about. You know, the people who are like, this is like the OP build that everyone should be using in their invasions. I wouldn't recommend that people actually do that, especially if you've never done invasions before. It's the same principle as when you're playing this game and just doing PvE. Like, you're not engaging in invasions or PvP or anything like that. You should just make a character that you like. Make one that's interesting to you, and one that has, you know, combos that you want to try and pull off, or weapons that you think are cool, and just sort of ignore what people like me say. You know, like what people on the internet tell you is the best kind of build, because I think you're missing out on the fun of invasions if you just kind of lock yourself into doing what everybody else is doing. And I have a couple of builds like that, you know, that are pretty much beat for beat copied from other YouTubers or streamers, because they're just kind of all around strong builds that you can use for invasions, and you can have fun with them. But man, making this build, I've had a blast. You know, I was feeling a little bit burnt out on invasions, but then we had stuff like this, invasions like this, And it's like, you know, it's like a whole new game now. And I'm thinking about what I can grab from the DLC for this guy. I think that Bloodflame Talons into the Starline Sword would be a really nice combo for this character. And the Starline Sword is just, it's still one of my favorite weapons from the DLC, especially like the lore behind it. Because it's like, oh, the demi-humans, they're not just like the little ape guys running around, like they're investigating the origins of the universe. And they have like these cool swordsmen who are locked in these jails in the Land of Shadow. So anyways, I think that that would be cool. And I haven't really revisited the Starline Sword since I used it like early on, like probably my first playthrough of the DLC. I just grabbed it and thought it was cool, and I used it for a little bit. But this build actually could get a lot of utility out of it, especially if we were doing multi-hit talismans and things like that, and trying to lock people into true combos. That could be nice. That could be cool. But anyways, I have a lot of plans for this character, and you should make characters that you think are fun and cool, and don't worry about too much like if they can win invasions, because they can. Like any build can win an invasion, so long as the conditions are right and you have your fundamentals down. And that doesn't mean that you will win every invasion, or that even like every invasion is winnable with your build, but you will find fights that are fun and engaging, no matter what your build is. And it's just kind of a matter of like, you know, self-expression, right? And I've talked about this before, but that's kind of the bummer of when you see people using the same builds over and over again, is that they're not using the stuff that they think is cool. They're using the stuff that they think is going to help them beat the game fastest and spend as little time as possible playing the game because they just want to win. And it's like, at that point, you know, do you even want to play the game? I don't know, but make fun builds and watch my channel and like and subscribe, I guess. Thanks.